Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
The breaking news of the morning, of course, we have the latest numbers and news from the devastation and the recovery efforts, just recovering and waking up now to this massive storm that swept through Florida. So, unless you're on the bottom tip, the southernmost tip, or northern Florida, everybody pretty much is affected by all of these millions of power outages, millions of people impacted by this. We just had a briefing from Governor Ron DeSantis, and you'll hear from them. And unfortunately, 2 weeks, basically 24, 25 days before an election. Of course, infused with a lot of politics and a lot of rhetoric. But the rhetoric is never the big story. The big story is people are suffering, not just from what just happened overnight, from last night into this morning in Florida, but as well across 5 other southern states. And we'll update you on all of that as we have many of you donating whatever you can. We have volunteers heading that way, Red Cross volunteers and first responders from our region. And that shows us the true nature of who we are as Americans. We are people within our spirit of America. We are at our best when things are the worst. That's the truth. It's also a quote from one of my husband's favorite all-time movies, Starman. I don't know if you remember that, but my husband loves that movie. Anyway, Pie. So inflation, the headline is, inflation, it's at a rate at 2.4%. That's the latest numbers. We look at the CPI, and then we look at COLA, cost of living, and what it means, particularly for people on a fixed income, for people who have worked their entire lives and counted and trusted that Social Security would get them through tough times. Not good news for them when we look at the cost of living. So just put that in perspective. If you live in these southern states and you're dealing with everything you're dealing with, and on top of it, yes, inflation went up, and that was topping the expectations. The jobless claims at the highest rate they've been in more than a year. So that shows us this is not a great picture going into this. And then it also impacts as far as the Fed. I don't want to get too wonky with these numbers because I want to get into the latest with the storm, but with the Fed, as far as rates being cut again, and I'll even weave in for you, I remember Charles Payne at Fox, and he said this quite some time ago, maybe 6 months ago or a year ago even. I like him a lot. And he had talked about he was looking ahead, obviously, within a major presidential election. And he said, watch the economy. That's what he watches with regard to rates, inflation, and numbers. And then the odds of an incumbent winning with the kinds of numbers that Charles Payne was predicting. And I'm remembering him saying that a long time ago. And I will say, well, I hate to see these numbers, but I hope Charles Payne was right way back then in that prediction. So we'll talk about all of it. Let's get to the numbers and some of the audio that our great Dan Borowski has prepared for you. The numbers this morning, as we look at, if you're on the Gulf Coast of Florida and looking at these outages, millions of people without power. And I know you're like me, not only trying to get Tony Bruno and Miss Robin, thank God they're okay in Cape Coral. I have friends and family in the Naples, Fort Myers area, where I worked so many years ago at my alma mater, Wink TV, which is a CBS News affiliate. So those numbers are going up by the minute as we think about 3.5 million people confirmed without power, 3.5 million homes. It's many more people than that. Homes and businesses without power, flood-ravaged areas, and the devastation not just from the hurricane, but before the hurricane even hit, okay, they had all these tornadoes that were spinning off and causing all of this damage. So with regards to the audio, Ron DeSantis, I know he was speaking out. Dan, where do you want to begin?
Maybe with the hardest or the most important stuff first. That's an official, along with Ron DeSantis, at today's press conference updating on rescue efforts happening around the region after Hurricane Milton.
Search and rescue efforts are ongoing, and so far this morning we've reported over 42 rescues in several counties. In Pinellas County, we've had so far 7 land rescues, 3 water rescues, several welfare checks. There were 2 arrested for looting for battery on LEO. With our teams in the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, and 21 rescued from an apartment building. These rescues started yesterday in the wake of the tornadoes. We had 7 local FWC officers respond to a tornado event where they rescued 6 and evacuated 4, or evacuated by 4x4 vehicles, and also conducted 30 welfare checks. In Pasco County, operations are ongoing, responding to multiple intersections, clearing trees and debris, allowing emergency vehicles to access storm-damaged areas and responding to calls for service. In Hillsborough County, there are several people assisted from a vehicle in a ditch, 1 pulled from a flooded vehicle, 3 individuals removed from a flooded apartment, and then there was another 100 evacuated at an assisted living facility, and another 20 evacuated from a senior facility in Tampa.
And some people, I will say, I saw one of the rescues, a lady, a family, but the mom had young children, mom and dad with young children, and the baby looked weeks old. But you think about it, for poor people in these areas, and they know that's where are they going to go. First of all, they can't afford a hotel. The shelters were all full at some point, and so they stayed home, and now these areas are all flooded, and that's what they're worrying about. The real story right now this morning, the heroes. These are the hero first responders who, in the dark start of the morning, as soon as they got the clearance to the okay, they went in. So part of it is FDOT. They're leading what's called cut and toss operations, clearing those roadways, and inspectors by the hundreds coming out and starting to inspect, looking at the bridges, trying to reopen the impacted areas. And once you get the roads open, right, you're clearing the way so that you can get other rescue in there and start seeing what's going on and rescuing perhaps people. I will say the first image of a rescue, if you DuckDuckGo Florida rescues, is this dog who looks like the dog in one of the commercials. It's like, I forget what kind of dog this is. It's a type of a terrier, but this adorable dog who somebody, God forbid, tied to a fence, and the water is rising.
He looks like the Target dog.
That's it, the Target dog. I couldn't think.
Yeah.
And he's like the cutest dog. And he's and he's like, "Hurry up, mister," in my doggy voice.
A bull terrier.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just such a cutie pie of a dog. And everybody's just talking about that this, because I think that it just really symbolizes the helplessness if you're caught in this.
He's up to his body. His legs are fully submerged in the water already. That's so sad.
And so I think, it's that human element of just feeling the terrifying moment of realizing that this is nature, the force of nature. And I know some of you have cloud conspiracies and all of that that are going around the internet, whether you believe it's the power of nature or other things at force here, it's still this helplessness. And then the heroes, you have the National Guard, the State Guard, Fish and Wildlife, everybody under the direction of Ron DeSantis, the great governor of Florida. And this is where he is at his best. You see what leadership is, and you see how he handles FEMA. And I know we're going to get into this, and many people blasting FEMA as perhaps, we certainly can, that in the sense that FEMA was too slow. But this is, I will say, a governor of Florida, if you believe in states' rights and good governors and people who have the skill set to lead in an executive way, this guy has got it together. He led his state through the pandemic better than any governor. And, there's no comparison. Remember Governor Tom Wolf and what a disaster he was, he was a loser as a governor. And it was horrible what he did to us and especially the elderly and our kids. But by contrast, Governor DeSantis comes out looking like a real hero and a real leader because he knows how to call Biden had to call FEMA and say, give me your funds, give me this. But whether or not the feds are there for him, he's leading. And that's that's what we should praise and say, this is what leadership looks like, right?
Yep, and a lot of questions have arisen. Why has Kamala Harris and him not spoken? And Biden himself was asked, why haven't they spoken? And Biden essentially threw her under the bus, saying, look, it's my responsibility to help out DeSantis. It's not her responsibility. We're doing what we need to do. Take a listen.
Mr. President, does Governor DeSantis need to take Vice President Harris's calls?
All I can tell you is I'm talking to Governor DeSantis. He's been very gracious. He's thanked me for all we've done. He knows what we're doing, and I think that's important.
So a couple important things that I want to note to you. When Biden spoke out, and he spoke out twice yesterday, so why isn't he, do you notice this? You probably do because you're so astute, but why isn't he speaking from the Oval Office, right? Because many of the things he was saying were campaign related, right? He took the moment to blast Trump and talk about the campaign. So under the Hatch Act, which we've heard all about, especially when Kellyanne Conway talked about something she shouldn't have. Oh, they're talking about the Hatch Act when it comes to Republicans. Nobody ever brings it up with Democrats, it seems. But he's doing the right thing. He's speaking about the campaign as the president, and he's being asked this question. And so it's important, first of all, I think that when he was not speaking about the campaign, when he was initially asked about, remember this, and Dan played this for you within the past couple of days, where Biden just talked about the need of the people, and he admitted that FEMA, in some places got a slow start. We need to do more type thing. He actually looked presidential. But he's right when he's saying, as the president of the United States of America, of course, he's going to work with the governors and do the right thing and get people the help that they need, and also get FEMA going or get Congress going to allocate those necessary funds. And so we'll get into Mayorkas and all of that. We'll always talk about FEMA, don't worry, but I'll put it all in the perspective of what's happening, the proper perspective. And the lead story is not to talk about the campaign or the rhetoric. And quite frankly, I wish that Biden and Harris had not even talked about the campaign. I know that takes an incredible amount of chutzpah, takes an incredible amount of confidence to do that because, yeah, you're running a campaign. But if I'm Kamala Harris, which I'm not, we're very different people. That's what she said about Biden. If I'm the vice president of the United States of America, even though I'm running for president, I'm saying to people, you know what? Over the next couple of days, I'm not talking about the campaign. I'm not campaigning.
You would think.
I'm visiting the people, and I'm traveling by night or whenever I can. I'm going to work with the first responders so that I don't interrupt any air traffic or rescues. But I do want to visit these flood-ravaged areas. I want to hear directly from the local people on the ground, and I want to help the people here. That's what a true leader would do. But you see that the problem with Kamala Harris or career politicians in general is they don't think like that. So they don't even know how to really lead and think outside the box. Mm-hmm. And that's what you're seeing with somebody like Ron DeSantis. And might I add that that's what you see with, let's say, somebody who's not a career politician or a politician at all. So Trump is, yes, since 2016, the election, yes, he became a politician, but the vast majority of his adult life was spent thinking outside the box and thinking in a way that is in an executive position where you are running things. And remember, that's why he was beloved in New York City, because when they had a problem, when they had business dying, when they had a crime problem, when they needed to bring an area back that was ridden with blight and crime, etc., who did they turn to? Trump. He was the man. And so that's somebody who knows how to solve problems. May I also add somebody who served in the military, signed up, served as a combat veteran in the Middle East in Iraq, and then went on to was a West Point guy, but also went on to be successful in business at the highest levels, somebody like Dave McCormick, who knows how to run things, who knows how to lead. And now he, for the first time in his life, wants to be hired by you, the people, by we, the people in Pennsylvania, as somebody who, for the first time in his life, would be a senator and would be in politics and would know how to read balance sheets, knows how to look at a document, a bureaucratic piece of junk like the ironically named Inflation Reduction Act, and would know how to read through that and see through it and see the pork, if you will, and all the politics and bureaucracy, and know how to serve people better. In my humble opinion, that's the kind of leadership we want and need. Dan, where are we going?
To your point, DeSantis clip is going viral on Twitter today, joined Glenn Greenwald over on CNBC, and kind of reiterated what you had to say, that it's about the people. It's not about politics. Take a listen.
The fact of the matter is they put out a story saying I didn't even know she was trying to reach me, but she has no role in this process. And I've been dealing with these storms in Florida under both Trump and Biden. Neither of them ever politicized it. And in fact, all the storms I've dealt with under this administration, although I've worked well with the president, she has never called in Florida. She has never offered any support. So what she's doing is she's trying to inject herself into this because of her political campaign. So as the governor here who's leading this, I don't have time for those games. I don't care about her campaign. Obviously, I'm not a supporter of hers, but she has no role in this process. And so I'm working with the people I need to be working with. We're leveraging the resources I need to be leveraging. And for her to try to say that my focus should be on catering to her rather than worrying about my own people just shows she doesn't understand what it means to respond to these natural disasters.
Yeah, Governor Ron DeSantis held a long news conference this morning, by the way, and gave all those numbers about the millions of people across Florida who were his main focus in speaking this morning was about the reaction and the heroes involved in these first responders and just trying to get Florida back and get power back. By the way, they've already gotten to I think 700,000 people just in Southwest Florida back with the power. So they're working very hard. So we'll talk about that. He brings up a great point that had Kamala Harris from day one for the past 3.9 years been a real hands-on Veep, right? Had she been at the border all the time, meeting with people, trying to get to the root causes of things and trying to bring forth solutions, then this would be more credible. So he brings up a great point. Dan, why are you getting trashed right now on the group chat or on social media? What happened?
Yeah, youtube.com/@12thandWPHT, Twitter some a little bit too. You talked about this dog that was beautifully saved. Social media has been going viral with that bull terrier that was saved tied to the fence by police officers down there in Florida. And I said it looked like Bullseye, the mascot of Target, and we agreed on that. But then people were like, no, what are you talking about? The person from the commercials is Spuds McKenzie. They were thinking from Bud Light.
Oh,
yeah,
that is
also
true.
A bull terrier as well.
Okay,
yes, but maybe it's a little generational thing here that it kind of just reared its ugly head. Where I'm thinking the Target dog when I think of a bull terrier, and everyone else is like, no, Dan, it's Spuds McKenzie. What the hell are you talking about?
So we'll have to put up the side-by-side pictures of the dogs and do a
It
little
definitely
poll.
looks more like Spuds McKenzie. Has like the little patch over the eye and everything.
Yeah, and Sylvia's right that DeSantis, he really has been amazing. So, but I know everybody's talking about the dog. That is just funny. All right, we have so much more, and we've got great guests ahead. Dan had the best line of the day. You said it's like the lottery. We have.
Oh, you better play the lottery is what I said.
Oh, yeah, you better play. And why?
Because at 10:30 we have Hope coming up, and at 11 we have Cash. Hope Danoff and Cash Patel joining the show today.
Oh, great. This is an awesome show.
And one more programming note. You were mentioning Dave McCormick. He will be joining Dom at 1 today, Dawn.
1 o'clock, Dave McCormick. Yeah, and I'll be anxious to hear what he has to say about all of this happening and in our area. And I even, you know what, Dan, we were so busy this morning on Kale & Co. We didn't even have time to report on Liz Cheney visiting Montco with the 3 others.
She was here?
She was here.
Man.
Did anybody know she was here?
No.
It didn't get a lot of coverage.
No, really
Did you notice that?
Yeah, why? I wonder why that is.
Wonder why.
Yeah, because Democrats don't want to hear this woman's opinion.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
So 855-839-1210. Thanks for being here this morning. We're going to be right back.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. K-Bay is beautiful in the fall, and great news, the Grand Hotel in K-Bay, New Jersey offers so many wonderful packages and special theme weekends this fall. It's going to help you make memories that'll last a lifetime. From September 29th through December 21st, book a fabulous fall midweek stay, and when you stay multiple nights, you will receive resort credits that can be used at Hemingway's for food and drink or at the gift shop. Also, check out their Grand Escape weekends, and it's not too early to think about Thanksgiving break. The family will love an ocean holiday Thanksgiving. While Hemingway's is doing the cooking and cleaning up, you and the family can use the gigantic indoor heated swimming pool and actually enjoy your Thanksgiving break. The Grand is the perfect place for you and your spouse or the entire family. Whatever your travel wish this fall, the Grand has specials and incentives to fit all your travel wishes. You will not be disappointed, so book directly with them for the best rates. Book your stay today by calling 800-257-8550, 800-257-8550, or visit them online at grandhotelkmay.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
The city is crediting community anti-violence groups for helping with the sharp drop in homicide rates. A set of conjoined twin babies from West Philly have been successfully separated after spending nearly a year in the hospital. And a Philadelphia baseball team played a game last night, but we don't need to get into details.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
There's breaking news all day long from around the world, and sometimes all that noise makes it hard to hear about what's happening right here at home. With the free Odyssey app, getting your local news plus breaking news is easy. And even when you're not near a radio, stay connected with what's going on right here by listening live and push alerts. Just download the free Odyssey app and search and follow your local news station, and you're good to go. The local breaking news to get you through your day at your fingertips on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you ready for retirement? Have you prepared everything you need? Well, at Investor Schooling, we will teach you ways to better prepare for your retirement using real estate and the stock market. But you need to learn how to do it right, and that's what we teach. At Investor Schooling, we sell nothing but education. Come to Investor Schooling and learn how to have a better retirement. Go to investorschooling.com and RSVP right now for this Thursday's class at 7 o'clock. Go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com. This is Larry Steinhaus with Investor Schooling. Are you tired of hearing about the recession that's coming? Are you prepared for it? Well, listen, at investorschooling.com, we're going to teach you ways to prepare for the recession that you didn't even know existed. We're going to teach you strategies on how to use real estate. We're going to teach you strategies how to use the stock market properly. That's right, you can even make money in the stock market when the stock market goes down. Hey, go to investorschooling.com and register for a free class this Thursday night, and you will learn all of these techniques. Go to investorschooling.com right now, RSVP for this Thursday. We'll see you there.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
So a Cheney, did you hear? A Cheney was in Montgomery County, yes, the suburbs, in the shadow of Philadelphia. This is Liz Cheney and the other trio of women who worked within the very end of the Trump administration for maybe 4 to 8 months between all of them. But here's Liz Cheney in Montgo speaking.
So she mentions the three other women she's with. It's Alyssa Farah Griffin, Cassidy Hutchinson, and Sarah Matthews, as you just mentioned, former Trump White House aides. Take a listen.
But I just wanted to say a word about why we're here, how important this is. This is the first time that the four of us have ever appeared together on stage. we felt it was so important to be able to do that here in Pennsylvania, to be able to do it in Montgomery County, to be able to do it in a place where you all know and feel and live every day how important our democracy is, how important the vote is, and where you all will determine, perhaps more than any other community in any other state in our country, how this election goes and why it matters so much. I just want to talk for a moment about what happened after the last election.
You want to hear this?
And,
No. Do you want to hear all this?
No, I just wanted the Montgomery County, why it's so important.
Okay, so it's so important.
Yeah.
So here's, somebody had said to me, Dawn, how could you, Liz Cheney, when she was a Republican, you liked her and respected her. First of all, I knew, I've talked about her dad, Dick Cheney. Did I vote for Bush Cheney? I did. And I respected him. I did. And the whole Iraq war, did it age well? If we knew then what we know now, would we have gone in? Would everybody except for a few people like maybe Rand Paul, right? Who was against it at the time in Congress, and they look pretty amazing right now. But most of the country was hoorah. Everybody was in. Everybody was for it. But then in the aftermath, we learned a whole lot. What bothers me about Liz Cheney, as somebody who, remember, she was primaried, it was brutal. I mean, in her own native state, she didn't even get to the actual general election. She was primaried. And I think you want to talk about polls, that's the ultimate poll, that she was widely, they lost respect for her in her own home state. So I didn't know as much about her, but she was widely considered a true conservative woman, right? The only thing I'm going to say about her, and she represented Wyoming, as you all know. So the only thing I'm going to say about her is, I just don't know if you are a far right conservative person, and that's what you say you are your whole life, and then all of a sudden you now are endorsing a candidate for the president of the United States who you, by your nature and your entire life, that you're in your, now what is she pushing 60? That you're now suddenly saying, I support somebody who was the furthermost left person in the Senate when Vice President, then Senator Kamala Harris was in the Senate. She was considered one of the furthest to the left senators, right?
Yeah.
And so there's zero, if you do one of Kamala Harris's, the Vice President Harris's Venn diagrams, there is zero that they would have in common as far as the issues, with one exception, and that is Donald J. Trump. The only thing in that Venn diagram and the vice president's, vernacular there, that they could possibly come together is that on one hand, you have a vice president who is far left and progressive, who wants to beat Donald J. Trump. And within that Venn diagram, you have Liz Cheney, who hates Donald Trump. It's, to me, what I see, and maybe you see something different, but what I see is this is personal for Liz Cheney.
She does explain her position yesterday to the crowd at the Keswick. You want to hear it?
Yep.
Beginning with George Washington, every single American president honored and fulfilled their solemn obligation to guarantee the peaceful transition of power until Donald Trump. Every one of them. And it can become exhausting when you think about what he's done, and it can become easy to think, what, we're going to look away from that, we're not going to focus on it, and we have to resist that. Every single one of us has a responsibility and an obligation to remember the facts, to remember that on January 6th of 2021, when Donald Trump woke up, his intention was that he would stay in office despite having lost.
So now she's going to get into J6. And so remember, and earlier on Kale & Co., Greg Stocker played the clip of James Carville. And James Carville was saying, like, forget about, you remember him, right?
Do that.
Forget
Go full in. Come on.
All right now.
How you doing?
So you got to forget about everything else. You got to forget about J6. And you got to forget about the bimbos. And you got to talk about the economy. That's what you got to talk about. And so
James Carville.
Here's somebody, he's been doing this a long time. And he's married to, and I met his wife, remember they used to have that show way back in the day if you study this stuff? Mary Matlin.
Yeah.
And she's a Republican, he's a Democrat. But as far as Liz Cheney, she was considered from Wyoming. She was considered one of the most conservative members of when she was a Senate, right? In the Senate. And what did she believe in? Pro-business. Pro-national security. Number one issues. The economy. Support for the U.S. military. Of course, she's a Cheney, so yes, hawkish on the foreign policy views. But she was considered to be in the neo-conservative, far right wing.
I do have the Carville clip.
Okay.
Yeah, just so people know what we're talking about.
You can check my accent.
Joe and I are saying they need to sell harder. Yeah. Okay. We need to really sell because you got all this disinformation. You're correct, but they got to selectively pick out what it is that they want to talk about. Mm-hmm. We've talked about January the 6th ad infinitum ad nauseum. We've talked about who won the election. Leave it alone. Go to J.D. Vance's massive lie on health care. Have Bill Clinton go do actualities in every market, in every swing state. Why have Obama come out and say, how dare he say this about our health care plan? And then have Bill Clinton go and explain.
It can't be real.
Infinitum. That's James Carville telling y'all what to do. Mika and Joe, you got it. You're the mothership. Now you spread the root.
And Bill Clinton's his October surprise?
Yeah, October. Jimmy, unfortunately, we have Jimmy too busy. He can't even do his Bill Clinton. All right. So the deal.
Jim is very busy, but he might have a.
I know, but
we got a great guest coming up that we got to get to, actually.
Oh, we do? Darn it.
Yeah, we got Hope coming up, yeah.
Hope, for my dear friend Hope Danoff, and she's a great event coming up. But Jimmy Kelly, we really, I hope we can get to Jimmy Kelly's talking about Bill Clinton's October surprise. By the way, we do have former President Barack Obama, who's in Pennsylvania today. He's campaigning, so we have that going on. It's in the Pittsburgh area. Thank you for the banjo music.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So, Hope Danoff, we'll take a quick break.
We all know that the public doesn't how tariffs will destroy the economy of the United States.
The wisdom of James Carville. Maybe he's listening to his wife finally of many years. All right. We'll get a little hope. Hope for Republicans, and her name is Hope, so it's appropriate. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. This year, FanDuel, in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, is giving you a chance to win big every Thursday night with FanDuel Squares. It's the same Super Bowl Squares game you've always known, only way better. That's because your numbers are not just randomly assigned. You get to pick them yourself. You can pick as many as you like. You get to see the odds beforehand, and you can bet them live during the game. So visit FanDuel.com/Dom and bet on Squares. Remember, FanDuel.com/Dom, D-O-M. Because if you're new to FanDuel, you can bet $5 to get $300 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. You have to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
The following is a paid commercial message.
A lot of congressmen talk about real results, but Brian Fitzpatrick actually delivers for real people like Tom.
I believe that Congressman Fitzpatrick does have his finger on the pulse, does feel the needs of businesses, and recognizes what small businesses mean to Main Street America.
Janice.
I would say 100% that I support Brian Fitzpatrick for Congress. I know that he has our interests at heart. He's just really a man of great integrity.
and Pete.
Congressman Fitzpatrick is very responsive, especially to veterans' needs. I can't think of any other person I'd rather see as my congressman than Brian Fitzpatrick.
Delivering for Pennsylvania. That's Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick. Vote on or before Election Day, November 5th. Paid for by America's Credit Unions PAC of Credit Union National Association, Inc., americascreditunions.org, and not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. America's Credit Unions PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
The leaves are changing color, the air is crisp, and it's the perfect time to fall into savings on a luxurious new Volvo from Cherry Hill Volvo. Take advantage of these incredible offers. A 2025 XC40 for only $435 per month on a 36-month lease. A 2024 C40 for only $329 per month on a 36-month lease. Or get 3.99% financing on select new Volvos for 72 months. See store for details. Customers enjoy the stress-free and satisfactory experience Cherry Hill Volvo provides. Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter.
Hey, this is Jimmy Fallon in the house, and dig this, folks. This is not a drill. It's the real thing. You can now join me weeknights from 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT or anywhere on the free Odyssey app.
So we have some incredible events coming up very soon in our region with some big names. And, you know, it's all about the women, the moms coming together. And so with that, do we have Hope Danoff? My dear friend,
Yes,
Hope
we
Danoff.
do.
How are you?
Oh, my dear friend, I'm such a pleasure to be with you today. You know, I love you so much. That's another story.
It's funny because...
I was just...
Go ahead.
I was just going to tell you that I was listening to you because it's such a great show where you were talking about Lynn Cheney. Do you know that I totally agree with you that it is strictly personal? And a friend of mine, not a dear friend, just texted me 2 nights ago that she can no longer be my friend because I am supporting Donald J. Trump. And then she sent me a clip of Liz Cheney. And so I just wanted to share that with your audience. You know,
sorry.
So it's being used as ammo by the left for conservative friends of those on the left trying to win them over to the dark side, apparently, right?
Yes. And I feel that, you know, I really feel sorry for her, but I totally agree with you saying that it's totally a personal vendetta against Donald Trump. That's what it is, because for her to lean over to support Kamala Harris, who is basically, I believe, ruining our country, her policies, that to me, it doesn't make sense. Just like Hillary Clinton, it's a personal vendetta, and they're willing to sell our country out for it.
Yeah, and I'm sorry about your friend too, because one thing that I have always been a proponent, and I know you're like this too, is that I have friends all over the political spectrum, and so I mean I live in the city of Philadelphia, right? So my neighbors, so I always believe in having the respectful conversation and going back to that and just talking about policy and issues. And so for me, that's if Liz Cheney had consistently been somebody who, let's say that she was always kind of a liberal leaning type of a senator. So even though she was a Republican, that she was more of a, you know, kind of a you know, some people say rhino, but more liberal leaning Republican, then I would say, all right, well, maybe they became buddies in the Senate. You know what I mean? And maybe she's on the spectrum, like the most liberal Republican, and they were buddies, and she's endorsing a buddy and somebody who she believes in, and maybe it's a woman thing or whatever. But there's just nothing there. There's nothing there that I could say that, and this is a smart woman who was pro-life, who was like every conservative issue, she was to the right of the right. And so to me, then I have to say to myself, all right, why would this individual come out for a Democrat who in her career was never in the middle as a Democrat or never a more conservative Democrat, but rather so far to the left? They have zero in common on the issues. And so that's where I conclude then that for Cheney, unfortunately for Liz Cheney, you know, it's just she grew up in a political family. Obviously, her dad was, you know, since she was a little girl, was running for politics, was a politician, and it was all about politics and the party and partisan politics. That's what she knows. In this respect, it's something that, you know, she grew up with a dad who was considered hawkish, who, when we think of Halliburton, so, you know, how did Dick Cheney become this guy who, if you look up his net worth, I'm not making this up, 150. I mean, look at the money that I'm not even going to say the numbers because it's all over the place. But somebody who is an extremely wealthy individual and was a career politician. And so for me, the conclusion that I make is that it's really all about personal stuff and partisanship, and that's a really icky part of it to me, Hope, that I don't want to be part of that. I really do look at the issues here. And as I look at the issues and I look at peace and prosperity and I look at who I think has the ability to lead, and in spite of, his style.
I absolutely agree with you. And when I shared that with my friend, who's a Democrat, by the way, and I do welcome all Democrats that are open-minded to join us at this wonderful event I have. I went out to lunch with a wonderful Democrat friend of mine. We disagree on politics. When I showed her the text that I got that morning from this friend out in Oregon, tears streamed down her face. She could not believe it. She said, "Oh my gosh, how could somebody do this to you?" And I just said, well, I don't know, but there's no comment I can make back to her. And I'm just going to pray for her, because to me, I have people in my life from all walks of life, and we can have an open discourse about what we agree on, what we don't agree on. And the incredible thing, Dawn, is that we do agree on more than we disagree on. That's the incredible thing. But it's so partisan today that I feel that that's my mission moving forward, is to bring people together. And I'm working on that, and there'll be big news coming down the pike, and I'll share that with you when it all comes to play.
I can't wait. So tell us about some upcoming events that you want to talk about.
I want to talk about an incredible rock star, but you're my incredible rock star, but there's also Stacey Garrity, who is an incredible lady who I absolutely adore. And we're going to have about 85 women out in Marion, which is Marion Station, Pennsylvania. And you can go to my website, republicanswithhope.com, and you can email me if there's any questions, republicanswithhope@gmail.com. It's a free event. It's going to be a Tea for Trump. Lara Trump is sending in a video. It's just spectacular. And there's going to be, of course, people from McCormick will be there, and some, people that are running for office. But the incredible thing is this, is that there'll be people, my mission is from all walks of life, a big, broad coalition. And come and join us. It's free. It's from 1 to 3:30. Check out my website. You'll get the location, and a beautiful home out there. And it's going to be just fabulous afternoon. And I'm so excited about it. And then there's other events that I'm, going. They're not my events, but I'll be attending. One is at the Atro event. You can go to my website and contact me about that. And then there's another event that I can share with you too, which is about.
Is this next Tuesday?
Yes, that's Tuesday. I'm so busy, but if people want to contact me, you can get my phone number off my website. I'm totally available, and email me at republicanswithhope@gmail.com. We have, like I said, we are really, I want to create a broad coalition and bring this country together. I do believe that Donald J. Trump will win. Thank goodness for that. And Dave McCormick, he's incredible as well. And I think after this election, my mission is to really bring everyone together for the common ground, the common good of this country, and heal this country.
And so are you able to talk about the Moms for America event next coming up?
Well, the Moms for America, I was invited to that, and I'm just a guest, and I was invited to that. But people can contact me, and it's called Moms for America, and contact me, and I'll send you all the information for that. That's an RSVP event. It is free. If you contact me at, republicanswithhope@gmail.com, I am totally available to everyone, and I'll give you all that information.
Okay, great. So are they saying where it is? Has that been announced? Okay, because I'm looking at their website, so I was trying to. Okay, so it's J.D. Vance next Tuesday, the 15th, is going to be in our area. So that's pretty exciting.
Right at, it's going to be at the what is that called? The
Union League.
The Union League. That's right, in Lafayette. I'm so busy, I don't know where I am every minute of the day. I don't even know where. My husband's like, "Do you live here?" I'm saying, I think I do. But the bottom line is that tonight, actually, John, this is interesting. I'm going to sign up to be I work the polls all day, but then my friend, who's a cybersecurity lawyer, invited me to go to Norristown tonight at 5 to 6 for training, if they'll accept me, to count the ballots from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. on Election Day. So I'd love to tell your audience about that if they do accept me and what that experience is all about.
Okay, that's great. I mean, you do, that's the thing, Hope. You do so much and you're such a sweet, good person. It's like when I go to these events with you, people are just flocking around you. So I really am sorry to hear about a friend. And my goodness, we all know families who've done this. But I'm sorry that happened. That's heartbreaking.
Thank you. It was really shocking, to be honest with you. But I just feel that, I'm a spiritual person, and maybe after the election, she'll see the light and we'll get back together. But right now, I'm on a mission to elect Donald J. Trump and Dave McCormick and all the others to save our country.
Yeah, and not just that, but you're part of just empowering different people. When Riley Gaines was here, you were also at that event, and we just reported on in Bucks County. They had a vote as they're undoing some of the rules in Bucks. That is something that Riley Gaines was here talking about, that we really need to protect everybody and to allow, like they're now doing in Bucks County. They just had this vote this week as far as the school board, because they want to make sure that if there's a biological male who identifies as a girl or young woman in any of their schools, they want that biological male, for example, to be able to dress in a locker room or go in a bathroom where it's designated as for girls only or for females only. And so that's one of the issues that I know that you care about, that Riley Gaines, we had talked to her about as well.
Like I mentioned, after this election, I want to bring people together, and I'm working on that. And I'll fill you in on that as it's all coming together. But the point is that we agree on so much, Dawn. We agree on the crime in our cities. We agree on the fentanyl crisis. We agree that we don't want men playing in women's sports that went through full puberty. We agree on, that we don't want criminals coming across the borders. We agree that we don't want our children transitioning before the age of 18 without parental consent. Can we agree on all that? Can we agree on also that there is indoctrination happening in our school systems as we speak to hate America? These are things that moms and parents across the country can agree on. So after this election, I'm working on behind the scenes and creating something that I'll share with you later on down the road about bringing people from all different walks of life. And that means Democrats, that means independents, that means people from all walks of life, Republicans, and, breaking bread together, joining together on the things we can agree on.
Well, Republicans with Hope, my friend Hope Danoff. We'll see you soon. Thanks, Hope.
Thank you so much, Dawn. You're the best.
Oh, no, back at you. RepublicansWithHope.com, so you can see all of the, we're talking about. Great lady, love Hope. So, you know what else I love? The fall season. This weekend, we're looking at 77, 78 degrees. This weekend, it's going to feel like summertime. And maybe that'll bring you to a road trip, because it is that kind of season. Is your vehicle road trip ready? My friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles, they're going to help make sure you and your family are safe on the roads. These service centers of the Piazza Premium dealers not only handle all your regular maintenance needs, but they're going to diagnose possible issues before they occur. So just schedule your service appointment online today. Visit PiazzaPremiumAutomobiles.com for that dealer nearest you, Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, of course. PIAZZA, PiazzaPremiumAutomobiles.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hi, this is Joe Mederchik, PNC Bank Regional President. People ask us, is PNC just a boring bank? Well, that depends. Is starting a business boring, or being the first person in your family to go to college? For nearly 160 years, we've done the hard and occasionally boring work of banking to deliver brilliant results to our clients. To see what boring banking can do for you, stop into any of our local branches right here in the greater Philadelphia community. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/rain to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, We'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/rain. That's leaffilter.com/rain.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano for my friend, dentist and board-certified prosthodontist Dr. Robert Bentz and the Bentz Dental Group. His state-of-the-art facility makes your dentistry as easy as can be. Recently, they had a permanent tooth put in, and you know how it is. In the past, you bite down, it's too high, it's always too high. The back and forth getting it just right. Well, not this time. With Dr. Bentz, it fit perfectly the first time. Call the Bentz Dental Group now, 610-272-6949. Visit BentzDentalGroup.com, 610-272-6949.
Do you have $10,000, $20,000, or $30,000 in debt? Then listen to this. You may not be required to pay it all back.
I was drowning in debt.
I had over $36,000 in debt.
If I would have just made the minimum payments, it would have taken me 59 years to pay off.
Whether it's credit card, medical, or personal loan debt, National Debt Relief can help significantly reduce what you owe. In fact, debt relief payments can be 50% less than your monthly credit card payments. That's right, half as much as you're paying now.
National Debt Relief reduced my debt by over $27,000.
With National Debt Relief, you have a powerful team that knows how to talk to your creditors.
National Debt Relief, they got me out of debt.
More than 550,000 Americans have used National Debt Relief to reduce their debt. Call 800-649-6464 to see if you qualify to settle your debt for a fraction of what you owe. 800-649-6464. That's 800-649-6464.
Hey, Cherry Hill. We know your favorite station is WPHT. Tell your smart speaker, play 1210 WPHT.
Can you believe we're only, 25 days before the big day, November 5th? It's crazy. Like 2 weeks, major storms, and really a political storm. And on top of it, there's this, have you heard about this other storm? I'll talk about that one moving forward. Want to take your calls, 855-839-1210 is the number to call. Let's get to our friend, Big Al in Mullica Hill. Hey, Al.
Hey, Dawn. How you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Well, I thought I heard everything about voting. A friend of mine's wife has a friend that's living in England. She's been there for 25 years. She hasn't been back to the United States. She says that she hates Trump, and she's going to be able to vote in Pennsylvania this year.
What?
After not being here, yes, and after not being here for 25 years because, I guess, dual citizenship.
Huh? I did not know that was possible. Did you?
And neither did I. But that's just so to me. If you haven't been here for 25 years, and you're not planning on moving back here, why should you have the right to vote? But I called because if I could just tell you something a little bit personal about me. It was laid on my heart that it's easy to have faith when things are going good in your life. But how are you going to react when that shoe drops? And that shoe's going to drop in everybody's life, whether you're rich, poor, black, or white. Sooner or later, something's going to happen. Well, I just found out 3 weeks ago I got to go in on October 21st for a triple bypass surgery. And the amazing thing is, people say, "Are you afraid?" I'm not afraid. I'm at peace. I'm not afraid to die because I have a strong faith in the Lord. And I want people just to, this is when you need them the most, to keep that faith, not to give up, no matter what you're going through in life. Like I said, I'm not afraid to die. If the Lord calls, guess what? You got to be home.
That's beautiful. You're going to, everybody, we're going to put Big Al from Mullica Hill. You are going to be in our prayers, my friend.
Say triple bypass there?
Triple bypass surgery?
Yeah, triple bypass. And like I said, I'm not afraid. No fear, no worries. It's just because this is how we are. Me and my wife, we're not worried at all. We just trust in the Lord. And like I said, if he calls you home, you can't say, "Could you get back to me, please?" So I mean, it's just I think it's just an important message to get out to people to keep that faith and don't ever give up.
It's so important. What a great message. Thanks, Big Al. We will be praying for you. I will say I've done TV news stories with heart surgeons. It's incredible what they do, even though it sounds scary. but they're so good. These heart surgeons, they're incredible.
Some crazy stuff they can do.
Yes, and the healing that they do. CPI for September, financial news, inflation higher than expected. The Fed rate cuts still seen as likely. That's one of the headlines this morning. But Dan, you found something interesting. Speaking of voters, do we have time for that, just to scooch that in? And this is, who was this again?
So this was Laura on Twitter from the PIL Foundation, the Public Interest Legal Foundation. She went around to registered mail-in ballot places, where apparent voters are, and decided to go to the locations physically and asked to speak with the voter, and this is how that went.
Hi, I'm Lauren. I was looking for Ronald or William Phelps. I don't know who that is. Okay, so they don't live here. At the bar? Yeah, no. Okay, this is the address we had for them, so I just wanted to make sure. Oh, God, yeah, no. Okay. I don't even recognize the name.
So if you didn't hear there, she was at a bar. Apparently there was mail-in ballots registered to a bar, and she went around Nevada doing similar things elsewhere, and she explains here.
Some of the addresses on the voter roll here include 7-Elevens, strip clubs, vacant lots, Stephen Bronstein, bars, casinos. Look, Nevada election officials are clearly failing to investigate and fix errors relating to commercial addresses on the voter roll.
So that's a problem. And so we do have all of these citizen journalists type public interest watchdogs across the country and here in Pennsylvania asking these important questions about where you registered to vote. Is that something that you've seen, like Al, hearing about somebody who's lived in England, hasn't been here for 25 years? How does it all work? We always just try to parse through it. Kash Patel up ahead, and then a surprise guest coming up at 11:30. Can't wait for this. There's so many goodies for you, including all the breaking news of the day. Thanks for being here. Be right back.
Do you have a property that you no longer want? Maybe you inherited the property. Maybe you're underwater in the property. Or maybe you're just a tired landlord, tired of dealing with tenants. Listen, I can buy those properties, and I'll buy those properties fast. I can close in 2 weeks. I buy properties cash. My name is Larry Steinhaus. Give me a call at 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I will personally answer the call. You can also visit easyOutRealEstate.com. Hey, this is Larry Steinhaus from Investor Schooling. Did you know I have a radio show every Saturday from 1 to 3? It's called The Larry Steinhaus Show, and it's sponsored by Investor Schooling. On this show, you will learn things about finances and things about money that you never knew before. But even more of a reason to listen to this show is how much fun we have. If you haven't heard the banter between me, Omri, and Dr. Deb, you haven't heard the greatest show on earth. Listen to this show this Saturday at 1 o'clock right here on WPHT, and I promise you will learn something.
California Psychics is the real deal. They helped me out, totally changed my attitude, totally got me psyched to start my business and take a new path in my life.
At California Psychics, we only connect our customers with the best. We reject 98% of the psychics who apply to us, so we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
You're in hot water, mister.
What'd I do?
I told you months ago our utility bills were getting higher because of that old outdated tank water heater.
Maybe it's time we finally switch to a Navien tankless.
Learn about Navient's high-efficiency tankless water heaters, endless hot water, all while helping you save on your energy costs.
Hey, look at this. Our utility bill is lower since we got the Navien tankless water heater.
Who's in hot water now?
We are, all the time.
Learn more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
With natural disasters, 2 wars, and over 20 million non-residents adding additional stress on our economy, this year's election may determine the fate of your retirement portfolio.
Stephen Ridgey, Burlington Township, New Jersey. Government spending has to be paid for somehow, and they are going to be looking at any sort of tax that they could possibly do. When they start raising taxes on gains in the stock market that you haven't even realized yet, who knows how much money they want. The interest that I've made with Crash Proof is tax deferred. It doesn't get taxed, and this year with the Crash Proof retirement system, I've earned 7% interest, and it's compounded interest. There are no fees. I haven't had to shell out 1 penny of my own money. With Crash Proof retirement, I'm election proof. I'm in total control of my money.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at Spring Mill Country Club on October 16th, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Save during Martin Water Conditioning's 51st anniversary sale. Save up to $500 on select systems. Martin's is offering $100 off Kinetico's K5 reverse osmosis system. Improve your drinking water for less. And if you purchase a water softener, you may be eligible for a free Kinex salt monitor worth over $150. Special 18 and 48-month financing is available to those who qualify. These deals are mutually exclusive and end at the end of October. Visit martinwater.com.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. At PGW, safety is essential to delivering clean, reliable natural gas to Philadelphia homes and businesses. If you smell gas, call PGW at 215-235-1212. Don't miss the Education Show with Dom Giordano every Sunday morning at 5:30. Find out how you can help your child or grandchild succeed. Sponsored by New Hope Academy.
Hey, it's Rhea Hughes. Fall is upon us, and now is the perfect time to head over to Lexus of Cherry Hill for the L Certified Fall Collection Sales Event. It's much nicer than pumpkin spice. They have over 300 new and L Certified pre-owned Lexus to choose from. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. For every car sold during October, a donation will be made to Virtua's breast cancer patient and early detection programs. Stop in and see my friend Tony Labello and his team, or visit online at lexusofcherryhill.com. Lexus of Cherry Hill, family owned and operated.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
We've been following the developing story of the day. Good morning, Dawn Stensland here as we look to now flood-ravaged Florida, much of the state. And we talked about the briefing by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, by all accounts being praised for his leadership, as now the rescue crews, recovery crews, first responders are throughout Florida, those power crews trying to restore power to millions of people in Florida, and the cleanup obviously continuing in 5 other southern states this morning, and so many private folks just heading that way, making their donations from our area here in Philadelphia and beyond. Many Red Cross volunteers and people in the private sector, first responder type people just going to help. So that's one of the big stories, the heroes after the storm. Let's bring in my next guest, who is Kash Patel, Senior Advisor to President Trump for National Security and Intelligence, somebody who has been on tour, if you will, with former President Trump, who was just here yesterday in Pennsylvania. And Kash Patel is somebody who is, I mean, you were a Pentagon chief and you were widely complimented by really advising Trump amid the quote-unquote intelligence community and helping him navigate through that and see through all that bureaucracy. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I know that I'll begin with, since I know you were on the tour, the bus tour through North Carolina. Did you want to talk about that a little bit as far as people recovering, what you're seeing on the ground?
Yeah, we're in the eastern part of the state this week and the western part of the state next week. That was that was really ravaged by Helene. And then after that, we're coming up to Pennsylvania. So it's nice to see the state come together and so many people show up and respond to President Trump's message of putting America first and repairing our communities in need rather than shipping our money overseas for another man's war. I mean, it's a pretty powerful and simple message that's really resonating with folks down here. It's just sad that it took such a disastrous natural disaster to shine some light on it.
Yeah, it's so true. Take me through as far as, your wheelhouse, and this is national security, thinking about Well, I'll take you to this. Israel, I know that you had a lot to say, and this was the week, this entire week, as we think about not just October 7th, but Israel. I know that President Biden just had that conversation with Netanyahu, was more interested in holding that news conference, not from the Oval Office, not talking about helping our great ally as far as Israel, but rather choosing to go from another backdrop so that he could talk about the campaign and blast Trump, and that was unfortunate. Somebody tried to talk to him about Netanyahu, and his comment was, we didn't talk about the storm. So take me through what you see 1 year later, this tragedy that's unfolding, this hot mess, if you will, in the Middle East, and what you see through obviously your skill set.
Yeah, look, Trump brought peace to the Middle East, literally and definitively. And President Trump and Kamala Harris have weaponized the national security apparatus, including the Defense Department and the intelligence communities, to politicize their campaign efforts. Remember, it's the Harris administration that walked them back into the Iran nuclear deal, which means Iran got a nuclear weapon. That's the title of the deal. It's the Harris administration that gave Iran $7 billion a year and a month ago. And what did Iran do, the largest state sponsor of terror? Launched a world war through their proxies and mercenary forces into Israel, our ally, who is still holding American citizens hostage, the Iranian mullahs and their mercenary forces, and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris can't get them back. And that's the reality. They're shipping our money overseas to manufacture world wars, and they are not taking care of our people devastated not only by Helene, but by Milton down in South Florida. We're just recovering from that. And that's the agenda they care about, is making Washington, D.C. happy at the expense of America and our allies.
And so, you know, when most of us look at, you know, these natural disasters happening in the southern states as well as Florida, by the way, the severe solar storm, we're seeing that headed to Earth and stressing power grids. They're saying we're getting those alerts. So how does the fact that there is this focus and billions of dollars spent on other parts of the world that are a mess now, how does that impact, if you would, our national security?
Oh, monumentally. Digs us deeper into debt by shipping money overseas instead of reconstructing America and creating jobs here like President Trump will in the manufacturing sector. Instead of delivering food, water, aid, and shelter to the people in need here, just this week, Harris shipped $8 more billion to Ukraine. Included in that $8 billion to Ukraine was natural disaster relief funds for the Ukraine. I'm not making that up. She also shipped $150 billion to Lebanon. And then what do? They came out and promised, oh, maybe we'll give $750 to folks on the ground in America. If you took a fraction of those funds and sent it to North Carolina and Georgia and Tennessee and Florida, these communities could be up and running in no time. But you're taking our money, not theirs, our money, and shipping it overseas, just like they did when Zelensky came to Pennsylvania to sign American-made bombs. They care more about another man's war than they do about the folks in their own backyard.
You know, earlier this week, I think it was, and we had dug out some different audio of Reagan back in the, 83-ish, President Ronald Reagan talking about this technology that nobody knew what the heck he was talking about. And then playing Biden a couple years later, bashing Reagan for this magical type of idea that was crazy and ridiculous. And then it was from the Reagan Library, put out some things. And then you fast forward to the Iron Dome and Israel's ability, thanks to that type of technology. This is your wheelhouse, correct? Like, this is the kind of thing that you look to the future with and think about our national security.
Yeah, absolutely. And President Reagan was absolutely right, looking to the future, as was President Trump when he prioritized our Department of Defense to go after our enemies, not just the terrorists in Iran, but across the world, the narco traffickers, and to secure the border. When it comes to prioritizing national security, President Trump made it no secret that he wanted to end the forever wars, and then he wanted our allies in Israel to be standing up on solid ground with solid defense infrastructure. And President Trump brought those allies, like Israel, weaponry and machinery that they needed to defend themselves and, importantly, defend us, America. And that's the simple difference. You don't have to be a national security expert to see it. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden continue to light our money on fire in the Ukraine. They launched, by funding Iran $7 billion, they allowed them to launch a world war into Israel. So President Trump's national security message was dominant and successful, And not to mention the fact that he brought home American hostages, which are still trapped in Iran's grasp.
I look at your book titles, and it tells it all, but it leads me to a lot of questions. One of your books that I had read, that was great about the plot against the king, but in the latest one, which I love your books, but the latest
Thank
one
you.
that I look forward to coming out is Government Gangsters, the Deep State, the Truth, the Battle for Our Democracy. So let's just, wave the magic wand, and to the delight of many listening right now here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, let's just say November 5th, yes, it's Donald J. Trump. He's the choice of the people, and the one and only Kash Patel. Now, you are advising number 47 on the deep state, the truth, the battle for democracy, and what you would do about those agencies like the FBI, like the CIA. So what's your advice to Trump president number 47 on this issue?
Well, we're going to work tirelessly to make sure that he is victorious on November 5th. That's the first and only mission right now. And Government Gangsters with President Trump turned into a bestseller, and he called it the roadmap for 2024. He did, and he said it was a blueprint to taking out the swamp. All my ideas are in there, from personnel and leadership positions and canceling contracts that are going to waste, but also doing things simply like the 51 Intel letter folks. We're going to take their security clearances and suspend them permanently. The 741 national security folks that are living off the defense industrial complex who signed a letter endorsing Kamala Harris for political reasons. We're going to take their security clearance. We're going to have a truth and transition committee where we are going to continuously put out documents from the government. That's my opinion, documents from the government to expose their corruption that they've withheld from the American public. I think Elon Musk has spoke to it with Donald Trump. And those are just some ideas, but more importantly, we're going to go to Washington, D.C. and gut the swamp that has built itself for the last 50, 60 years and defeat the uniparty that has been running that town and return Washington, D.C. to return to the American public.
And so, can I ask you something? Because I was looking at somebody like Liz Cheney, who was considered a very conservative individual for a long time, and obviously, famous father. And I was trying to figure out the Venn diagram, if you will, that she would share with Kamala Harris, which is zero, except for the fact that it's, to me, with somebody like Cheney and her last name, I thought, well, this is a person. There was something personal. And then when I look at, somebody like you at your high level, where you're talking about that the highest levels of government, that they've been infiltrated by these, what you call an anti-democratic, deep state. So should I be looking, and I haven't read your Government Gangsters book. I did read your others, but I will say this. Do you see more than I'm seeing? I'm just saying, they have a personal thing. But is it more than that? Is it deeper than that?
Oh, yeah, and it's not a Republican or Democrat thing. There's a glossary of government gangsters in the back of the book in alphabetical order, just to name like 60. But it's a uniparty thing, and Cheney's a perfect example. Her father launched a war in Iraq that was based on a lie to fund his defense company, Halliburton. And they've been building that company billions and billions of dollars over, and now it's up to Cheney to run. And it's a great example. And again, you have folks like Bill Barr and Gina Haspel and Mark Esper. And you have things like the disinformation campaigns from January 6th insurrection, the 51 Intel letter, Russiagate. All of these folks have been revolving in and out of D.C., and some are back in power in the Biden administration at DOJ and FBI, and we've seen how they've become weaponized. The two-tier system of justice is their armed weapon of choice. And so it's not just shallow. It is deep and entrenched, and it must be wiped out. And that's why they fear Donald Trump. He started the job in his first term, and he's going to finish it in his second term by exposing their corruption. And they are terrified of that.
Kash Patel. So, Government Gangsters, I love the title of the book, and we appreciate you. Be safe as you're on the road now with former President Trump. Kash, thank you so much.
Thanks so much. We'll see you in Pennsylvania week after next.
Yes, we'll do. Pennsylvania. And like I say, Trump was here yesterday. I know Obama is here today. And then J.D. Vance, kind of up in my neck of the woods, because I can see Montgomery County from my house.
Oh, can you?
That was remember that was Tina Fey. Sarah Palin never said, I can see Russia from my house, but Tina Fey from our area obviously made that famous. So
I don't want to be that guy, but
Yeah?
wasn't it kind of settled that you can indeed see part of Russia from Alaska? I don't know. I don't know what the eventuality was on that situation,
But she never said it. That's how good
Yeah.
Tina Fey is. Was it that imitation? But I mean, JD Vance coming next Tuesday to Lafayette Hill. That's big.
That's awesome.
That's exciting.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So Cash, thank you for setting him up. He's good.
The side effect of this election coming is just these awesome events that just keep happening all over the area. You heard him from Hope earlier, and you hear, Cash now. He said, see you in a couple of weeks when the Trump bus comes to Pennsylvania, and you just had Trump here yesterday. It's fascinating to see what a primary swing state in a very important election can bring from event situations, and it's awesome to have it here in the area.
Indeed. And I have to ask you guys, because Nick Cale and I earlier, we were disagreeing about the big announcement that Trump is going to be in NYC, and that's coming up on a Sunday. I think it's the last Sunday in October, if I'm correct, like the 27th of October on a Sunday. So, Nick said he didn't understand why, or, he just didn't think it would be that big of a deal. He should be in a swing state. And we were going back and forth
I don't
on
know.
it.
I'm kind of with Nick.
What do you think?
Kind of with Nick on this
You're
one.
with Nick.
Yeah, I New York, you got to think about it. Like Philadelphia, Wells Fargo was mentioned too. I heard a caller or somebody mention. It's not a good idea because you think of the state surrounding, and Wells Fargo is kind of the same thing as Madison Square Garden. I don't think people are flying in and paying for $1,000 plus trips to come see Trump at Madison Square Garden. And I think what draws a lot of times when you do boxing events, UFC events, wrestling events, it's the local area. It's Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And the only one that mentioned that I think is important in this election is Pennsylvania. You're not going to draw people from Massachusetts, Connecticut to a Trump rally, I don't think. And I think even at like Wrigley Field, where you have Wrigleyville that can be completely taken over by the camaraderie of Trump fans rather than something like Madison Square Garden where the camaraderie of Trump is going to be lost on the outside. Like I think it would be an awesome monumental event for him to. And I think, along with Nick, how he could, he said he could sell out Citizens Bank Park. I think he could take on Wrigley. And can you imagine Trump at Wrigley and Wrigleyville with all the Trump supporters out at the restaurants there? I think it would be a really cool sight to see rather than something like New York, Madison Square Garden. And I get the headlining. I mean, WrestleMania, Madison Square Garden. It's always like there's something there with that name.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it sways really anybody in the election like it would. And the sad thing is, with all this attention he's giving to these swing states, and I really, as I just said, appreciate it, I think a lot of the flyover voters in the Midwest have kind of gotten lost, and he should do a big re-energizing of the Midwest right there in the center in Chicago.
So Chicago, Wisconsin, you think that would be better?
Yeah.
So what do you think? 855-839-1210. We'll take a quick break. I'll give you more of my take on why I think it is brilliant. And I'll give you a tease. It's psychological warfare, and it involves the national media. Quick break, your thoughts, so much more. Just ahead.
High school football is back. High school football is back. And so is the Friday Night High School Football Scoreboard Show. Join Daryl Dobis, James Bailey, and Matt Dents. Friday nights 10 till midnight. For a rundown of all the big high school games in the region and expert analysis. The Friday Night High School Football Scoreboard Show. Friday night at 10. Only on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, and the Free Odyssey app.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Bob's Little Sports Shop, Delsey Drive in Glassboro, is your one-stop shop for firearms and firearm safety. Bob's now offers an expanded selection and classroom area, NRA-certified instructors for all your firearm education, and an indoor pistol range open daily.
I have heard the children crying and gunfire in the night. Freedom seems so far away, but still the people fight. Freedom is a fragile gift that has a heavy price. Battles won and battles lost, and many gave their life. What some men take for granted, others never see. To speak their mind and have no fear and live a life that's free. This happened in a foreign land not too long ago. Freedom is the greatest gift that everyone should know. To safeguard all our liberties and keep our country free, it's not up to the government, it's up to you and me.
Remember Bob's Little Sports Shop for firearms and firearm safety. Call 856-881-7575 or bobslittle.sportshop.com. Paid for by Bob's Little Sports Shop, Glassboro, New Jersey.
Hey, it's Greg with Kale & Company. This year, FanDuel, in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, is giving you a chance to win big every Thursday night with FanDuel Squares. It's the same Super Bowl Squares game you've always known, only way better. You know, the office pools. We've all done the office pools. That's because your numbers aren't just randomly assigned. You get to pick them yourself. You can pick as many as you like, and you'll get to see the odds beforehand. Also, you can bet on them live during the game. What a deal. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/Greg, FanDuel.com/Greg, and bet on FanDuel Squares. Plus, if you're new to FanDuel, you can bet $5 to get $300 in bonus bets if you win. $300 in bonus bets if you win just on one $5 bet. FanDuel Sportsbook, the official partner of 1210 WPHT, 21 and over, President, Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121.
Free speech lives here with Rich Zioli weekday afternoons 3 till 7 on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
Just ahead, Dan has hooked us up with a very famous Republican congresswoman. You want to hear this interview coming up. But just wanted to get your take as we think about Donald J. Trump in the heat of the final weeks of the campaign. And so do you think that it's a wise use of resources, of time? They just have booked, is that a little Trumpish? No. Just booked Madison Square Garden in New York City. Why New York City? So I'll give you my take, more on my take in just a moment, but just some of your calls.
Yep, we got well, first off, let's go to Frank. I want to celebrate Frank in South Philly. There's something to celebrate here.
Hey, Frank.
What do you got?
Hey, Dawn, Dan, how we doing this morning? God bless you.
God bless you.
Greg Pullman. My sister, Rose Crenity Jefferson, just got sworn in to be an American citizen after 66 years in this country.
God bless.
And every year, once a year, I will call her up and say, listen, I'm going to deport you if you don't go for your citizenship. Get sworn in. And she finally did it in Mount Holland over here in New Jersey, because she lives here in Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great honor and a privilege to be in this country after 66 years that we've been in here. It's still great, and I hope we could bring it to what it originally was 4 years ago. And one other thing I would like to turn around to all veterans. They're invited to the Veterans Memorial Ceremony that we have here at 18th and Bigler. The exact address is 2900 South 18th Street. And it's not just for all veterans. It's for anyone who lives in this country, this great country of ours that I've been living in since 1958.
Beautiful.
The station, and also the people are invited. And we do it every year for the past 3 years that we've been doing it, that I've been doing it. And I belong to the post, VFW, post 8714, in case anyone would, in Glendora, New Jersey, in case anyone would like to, find out some information.
Okay. Frank,
I built this memorial. I built this memorial for the veterans. And every year we'll have the ceremony there, and you are as well. Anyone on the station.
And when is it again? When is it again?
It's November. It's November 8th, November 10th.
November 10th. So it's after. So we have time. So let's promote it. Let's keep it going because I have this great interview coming up. So we'll put it out there, and I want you to stay on the phone, and I want Jimmy to get your information because I want to put all the information out, and we're gonna put it out on social media. Okay. So we'll promote it, Frank. I apologize because we're TikTok. We have so much to pack in here. So we have a great interview that Dan set up with a very famous, important, elected Republican woman. So we want to get her, take on that. And as far as Trump holding the rally, I mean, you talk about chutzpah, holding the rally in Biden's hometown of Scranton yesterday, not just the rally in Reading, where he's still going after the Hispanic vote, which he's banking on that one. What's that? I can't hear you.
I just whispered in your ear one more call before break.
Oh, one more call real quick. So you have him, going to Scranton, Biden's hometown. Now he's going to New York City. So one more call. Who do we want to go to?
Yeah, because I just want to get him in. No, it's Jason in Michigan. We'll get Julian at some point here. But Jason in Michigan, right on topic here. He's talking about his rallies and the Madison Square Garden rally, and he has a suggestion as to where he should do one.
Hey, Jason.
Hi, thanks for taking the call. He needs to make sure he's got a big enough stage for Marjorie Taylor Greene so she can do a full presentation on the weather modification machine.
Jason, get out of here. Oh, look at this troll calling us in.
Look.
He said the big house in Michigan, like he was going to get under 10,000 people in there.
I thought he was going to say, because, she does the CrossFit thing, and I thought he was going to say so she could have enough room on stage to do like a bunch of backflips, and because she's very fit. I know. I haven't talked about any of the different. I have friends from southern states and Florida sending me pictures of clouds, and I'm fully aware of it. Dana and I have had a conversation
about that. Yeah.
So I'm just going with. First of all, we're packed with interviews, packed with breaking news, and there's so much happening. It's not that if you want to call about all that stuff, that's cool. I get it. I'm just whether you think it's Mother Nature. Whether you think it's the weather, whether you think it's the power of Mother Nature, whether you think it's God judging us, maybe you think you're Noah and we need an ark, whatever that is, always have the conversation. But I'm also talking about reality, and I'm talking about what's happening right now and what is tangible, what I can wrap my arms around, and just bring you that news and that information. So that's what we're trying to do here. Pack it with info. I love this song. Thank you. Yeah. Stormy weather.
Some Etta James for you.
I know. And so Milton, the monster, leaving this path of destruction, praying for our friends and family in Florida, from our fellow citizens. Be right back with an incredible interview.
Weather sponsored by Budget Blinds.
A cooler air mass has returned to the Delaware Valley today. Plenty of sunshine with a high temperature below average at 64. Tonight, a chilly night, mostly clear, low 44 for the city, 30s in the suburbs. Frost advisory in effect for the suburbs tonight. And Friday, sunshine and a bit milder with a high near 70.
Ready for fall? Budget Blinds is your one-stop shop for blinds, shades, shutters, custom drapery, and motorization. Visit budgetblinds.com for a free in-home consultation and the only no questions asked warranty in the business. When you schedule your consultation, ask about their special radio offer.
Hey, it's Rich Isioli. You know that Dr. Mike Veneri is my friend. He's my dentist. He's the master of dental implants. Did you also know that he hosts an annual Veterans Breakfast every year to thank our men and women who have served our country? And he also hosts a free community shredding event so you can shred all those confidential, sensitive documents so nobody hacks your identity and tracks you down. Saturday, November 9th, Veterans Day weekend. Your opportunity to come out, say hello to our veterans, thank them, get some coffee, cake, donuts, even breakfast pizza. Breakfast pizza, what's that? It's a real thing. And if you've been thinking about getting that beautiful smile you deserve, reach out to my buddy Dr. Mike Veneria. For 12 years, he's been recognized among his peers as a master of dental implants. He's a guy who cares. He gives back to our veterans and our community, and he's my entire family's dentist. You won't be disappointed. So come out on Saturday, November 9th for the Veterans Event and free community shredding event. Go to veneriadental.com for more information. veneriadental.com. I'll see you Saturday, November 9th at his Cinnaminson office, veneriadental.com.
You're driving along when you realize...
Oh, I've got to get over. Oh my gosh, sorry.
You didn't see him, did you? He was in your blind spot. You can also have a blind spot when it comes to your retirement. That's where Joe Yakovich of JML Financial Group comes in. He knows about a little blind spot called taxes. Social Security, your pension, your investments, all can be taxable. Look, you don't want to end up saying,
Will I be writing huge checks to the government when I retire?
Don't get blindsided by taxes. Make sure your retirement plan has a tax plan. With one call to JML Financial Group, 856-925-6674. That's 856-925-6674. Or at jmlfinancialgroup.com. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. JML Financial Group does not offer legal or tax advice. Please consult the appropriate professional regarding your individual circumstance.
Window Nation presents the 1210 WPHT Veteran Spotlight in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation. Listen the first Wednesday of every month as Kale and Company shines a spotlight on a local veteran, highlighting their remarkable commitment to the community and their exceptional service in the military. Presented by Window Nation. At Window Nation, there's nothing more important than giving back to the communities we serve. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
Support the Evesham Township Police Foundation. See Joe Conklin and the City Rhythm Orchestra at Cherokee High School in Marlton, Saturday, October 26th.
Conklin doing his thing, his best voices, his best shtick. Joe's family is just, they're like back from the Osmonds. They're Osmonds on steroids. They're unbelievable.
They made fun of the Cowboys, though. I've known him for such a long time, but I did not know he could sing like that.
That's Conklin with City Rhythm at Cherokee High School in Marlton, New Jersey, October 26th. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
This Saturday morning at 10, tune into a special edition of Your Radio Doctor with Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Get the latest news and information that affects your health and wellness. This Saturday, October 12th at 10 a.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hey girl, it's your new night guy, Jimmy Fallon in the house from 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and free on the Odyssey app.
A Harvard student calling for the mass murder of African Americans is not protected free speech at Harvard, correct?
Our commitment to free speech...
It's a yes or no question. Is that corrected? Is that okay for students to call for the mass murder of African Americans at Harvard? Is that protected free speech?
Our commitment to free speech...
It's a yes or no question. Let me ask you this. You are president of Harvard, so I assume you're familiar with the term intifada, correct?
I've heard that term, yes.
And you understand that the use of the term intifada in the context of the Israeli-Arab conflict is indeed a call for violent armed resistance against the state of Israel, including violence against civilians and the genocide of Jews. Are you aware of that?
That type of hateful speech is personally abhorrent to me.
So that is the GOP's rising. She was known as a rising Republican star. I'd say she is now that star, but this is the Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, and she really knew how to put the heat on the Harvard press, of course, helping to topple her and illustrating what we felt here in Philadelphia, obviously at UPenn, but a Republican congresswoman, a mom on the move, and she has been targeting that deep institutional rot. And I'll also say that she was pretty tough putting the heat on Cuomo. That was another hearing about his $5 million book deal. But let's bring in now, honored to have a Congresswoman Elise Stefanik in the House. Thank you. Yes.
Great to be with you.
Absolutely. So I know that now you are a mom on the mission. You have your baby has just turned 3. Is that right?
He did, yes. He just turned 3, and I will tell you, I was elected to Congress 10 years ago, the youngest woman ever elected at the time, and I've gotten married, I became a mom, and it has given me more energy than ever because it's just a reminder of what we're fighting for, that we are really wrestling for what this country is going to look like for the next generation, and just seeing this deep rot and this radical leftism taking over our schools and different institutions in our society, it's the American people that are going to save the country. So I'm really working hard to make sure that we have Republican wins up and down the ballot.
And so, and I always say about you, Congresswoman Stefanik, you have your priorities in order. So if anybody, we should all be following you as I've been following you on social media, but on Twitter, on X. Number 1, you've pinned, obviously, the birth of your baby. Number 2, New York is Trump country and you have Trump. And number 3 is border safety, the nightmare at the northern border, which is you're affected by, obviously, in your constituents because you're in New York. When you look at the border issue going on, whether it's the northern border, the southern border, what are you seeing, and why is this security issue an important, not just for our own communities, security, but national security? What do you see here, and when you're out and about and on the campaign trail?
And I want to know, I'm sorry to interrupt, but also the spin by Kamala and Walz out there trying to blame Congress for the situation at the border as well. It's ridiculous. Sorry, Dawn.
No, that's okay.
No, well, it's really important that we talk about this. Mm-hmm. This is the number one issue across the country, that and the economy. And the American people are smart. No amount of spin from Kamala Harris in the mainstream media will take away from the facts. And the facts are this. Joe Biden issued 94 executive actions to get rid of President Trump's border security policies. And you have in this administration and Joe Biden and his open borders are Kamala Harris, just a lack of respect for the rule of law, a failure to enforce the laws on the books. We know what a secure border looks like. It looks like the policies of President Trump. And make no mistake, House Republicans passed the Secure the Border Act, which would have ended catch and release, restored remain in Mexico, continued the construction of the border wall, and increased the number of Border Patrol officers. And Chuck Schumer and the Democrats refused to bring that up, and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris issued a veto threat. So make no mistake, it's Democrats that own this border catastrophe. They've had every day to try to fix this, and they haven't. It's gotten worse and worse under their watch. And every district is a border district. Every state is a border state. It's not just those that are contiguous to the border. If you look at the illegals that are being transported to states and cities across the country, if you look at the rise of illegals committing violent crimes against American citizens, and also, if you look at the fentanyl poisoning, which is the leading cause of death for young adults aged 18 to 35, that's directly because of the wide open border policies and the failed border security policies with Kamala Harris as Joe Biden's open borders are. And I want to talk about sort of a personal aspect of this from my district. I was just home all the way up on the U.S.-Canadian border in my district, listening to moms and dads. We had a round table, and it was the first week of school. They were putting their elementary-age school kids on the school bus for the first time. Mm-hmm. And the illegal crossings are so bad, and really nothing we've ever seen in that part of the state or part of the country before. Illegals were around the school bus. The kids could not get on, the U.S. kids, my constituents, and Border Patrol had to be called in. Another story was a Labor Day parade. A family left their home, and they came home, and there were illegals in their garage. And, of course, they called the Border Patrol. So it's a catastrophe. It's something we have never seen before in modern times. And, again, it is because of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
Yeah, and when you look at this, and that's, I think, what Dan Borowski, our great executive producer, was referring to, is that, this is, so there's the news story that's the real story, right? That is this crisis. And we see what's happening. We're living it across the country. And just like, I know you've been to the Carolinas and the storm-ravaged regions and Florida. Then when you look at the media, or even our president and especially the vice president, it becomes the number one story for them is the rhetoric. It starts with Trump lied about ... rather than the big story, the real story, which is people in crisis. So how do Republicans navigate around that? And it's in part, you have a campaign of Democrats, but then you also have complicit with them, the media.
That's exactly right. And you're right. As families and hundreds of thousands of people in North Carolina have been really left without the support they need from FEMA and just abysmal leadership from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. This is buried in the news, and instead they are continuing their anti-Trump just attacks day to day. And that's one of the things that is so great about President Trump is he just barrels through and refuses to allow the mainstream media to dictate how he communicates to the American people. That's why he does these rallies. That's why he expands and goes to places like New York and elsewhere where previously Republican candidates for president don't really go, because he is leaning in and he is breaking the really broken mainstream media. And one thing I've noticed, and I noticed it in the very important Senate race you have in Pennsylvania, it shows how much the Democrats are propping up, how much the media are propping up these Democrats when you hear them in these debates. And the Republicans are just winning debate after debate, just like Dave McCormick did. And you see how less than mediocre these Democrat candidates and elected officials are. That is a trend we're seeing, and it happened at the vice presidential debate, too, that Tim Walz had been propped up by the media, and J.D. Vance absolutely dominated that debate, just like Dave McCormick did against Bob Casey.
And so, speaking of that, let's say that you serve with somebody like a Dave McCormick, he'd be a newbie, right? He'd be a newbie because he's never been elected to office before. And so what's your advice as far as somebody, and I mean, you're barely 40 years old yourself, and many say that you're part of this new generation, J.D. Vance, other young and upcoming Republicans, and kind of redefining the revolution of Republicans and the party. But what's your advice to somebody like a Dave McCormick who wants to join you in the Senate?
Well, Dave McCormick, I will tell you, he is a friend. I've known Dave McCormick for a number of years, and he supported me when I first ran for office, and I'm proud to have endorsed him. I'm going to be with him later on this month in Pennsylvania on his bus tour, as well as the Bucks County Republican dinner, so I'm excited to do that. Dave is a tremendous leader. He has the business experience, and most importantly, he's connected to the values of Pennsylvania. He is connected to just growing up how he did with his family, and the fact that he is a native Pennsylvanian, that is going to help him to deliver results. He's going to secure the border. He's going to rein in inflation. Dave knows how to get things done. You're not going to have a typical junior senator with Dave. He is going to hit the ground running on day one. I'm looking forward to partnering with him since I'm on the House side.
Yeah, thanks for you're graciously saying that too. Thank you. I meant to. He is going for Senate. You're obviously a congressperson in the House. Sorry.
Of course, but I look forward to partnering with him. Another issue that he's going to lead on is energy independence. You have a Democrat ticket at the top with Kamala Harris, who supports banning fracking. That would devastate so many jobs in Pennsylvania. And how do I know that? Because right across the border in New York, we have a moratorium on fracking, and it's failed Democrat policies, and the jobs have moved to Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania has gained. Again, as a reminder to your listeners, Kamala Harris wants to ban fracking, and that's how out of touch she is with today's economy.
And so take me through as far as being a mom. In fact, I've talked to Dave McCormick, who's running for Senate here in Pennsylvania, about being a girl dad between he and his wife, Dina. I think they have 6 girls. So that's a lot of drama. I'm a mom of boys. But as far as being a parent and thinking about the future and moving forward, how has that changed you over the past 3 years in your life?
It's changed me because it, again, reminds me of what we're fighting for. And it also ensures you experience these issues in a way that parents are. I'll give you an example. When Sam was still, he was formula fed after a few months, and this was during the formula crisis and shortage because of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's failure to lead and demand accountability from the FDA. Diaper prices have skyrocketed. You see that as an elected official. Child care accessibility. Compare that to child care became more accessible and affordable under President Trump. He also doubled the child tax credit. So we are pro-family. And then I get to education. Because my son is 3 and starting his educational journey, you see the politicization in our school systems that are fundamentally moving away from American values. And of course, that is encapsulated and culminated in higher ed, just the moral and intellectual rot that was on display at the hearing with those university presidents who have since been fired, 5 of them, and that was long overdue. But these issues hit home, and that's really important. And I know Dave cares deeply about these issues as well. I know Dina, his wife, very well as well. And he is a very proud girl mom, and he's going to stand up for economic opportunity for all and is just a great parent. So these issues impact us in the country we're leaving the next generation.
Yep. Elise Stefanik, Congresswoman Stefanik, thank you so much for joining me and for being gracious with your time. It's great to talk, and I hope that you'll come on again. Thank you.
Thanks, Dawn.
Have a good one. It's she brings me back when she talks about her little guy, Sam, 3 years old. And I always say to my boys who are now 6'3", teenagers, Mom, can you drive me here?
I want to ask you the
I'm
same
hungry,
question.
Mom.
It's been a little bit longer than 3 years for you, but over that amount of
teenagers
time.
now, yes.
How's it changed you, your perspective, looking at the future and such?
I don't even know what I did before I had kids, and I did a lot. You know what I mean? I had a successful television news career across the country and CBS Network and Fox 29, 10 o'clock news and yada, yada, yada. And I don't even remember. Sometimes I say to Larry, my husband, I'm like, what did we even do? I think we got more sleep.
It is wonderful being able to sleep in on the weekends.
Yeah. So there is a before and after, definitely, but it does change you. And I think
it changes a lot of political sensibilities. Like a lot of my friends, they go through a transition that when they start having that desire to have children, it becomes less a desire to make sure everybody gets something in the world and everybody needs, their handouts. And it becomes what can government, if anything, what can they do for me and mine, my family, my unit? And I think that turns people conservative to a degree. And that's why you have the notion of, as people grow older, they turn more conservative. I think it's largely because of children in the family unit and trying to, protect oneself, lower taxes, and everything you just heard from Representative Stefanik.
Yeah, and I know for you and Maisie, this is what, your future and thinking about. And so also, it's not just that. It's not just the partisan and the policy, but there's something else, and that is the indoctrination, and that is the schools and school choice and things of that nature, and then social media and the impact that social media has on kids. And so I'm glad that our, for Larry and I, for Michael and David, we kept them busy. I would just say that, keep them busy. Because the busier, whether it's a part-time job when they become teenagers or the sports or theater or anything that keeps them away from that computer screen or that phone screen.
Yeah, once you hand them the screen, it takes over.
That's it.
I mean, it's purposeful. I mean, we can, at some point in the near future, we'll have to delve into my just complete hate and distaste for TikTok. One of the main issues I differ on with Dom and with Rich. I call for a outright ban on TikTok and the adversary government of China being able to indoctrinate our children in the way. All right, maybe I'm getting a little too far down there. Sorry.
No, but I think that the point is, and I have friends and family right now dealing with this. So what they've done is that they band together and the parents all make a pact. That the parents group, like let's say when they go to whatever their little Montessori or their preschool or their little play dates, and they say, hey, let's all get together. And they all get together at somebody's house and they say, let's all make a pact that we won't let our kids have a phone until they're fill in the blank.
So there's a organization my brother's actually he's launching at his school up in Massachusetts, and you can sign up for it yourself. There's a pledge. It's an official thing. It's called waituntil8th.org. And the notion is that if you can normalize the behavior of kids not having cell phones in school, they'll drop that FOMO kind of attitude. And I think it's something like 30% or so is all it takes for 30% of kids to not have phones. So this whole pledge, you can sign up waituntil8th.org and organize your own school to do it. My brother's doing it up there again in Massachusetts. And as you said, a lot of parents signing on to this kind of pledge, this pact with other parents to not let it happen with their kids, because what's happening now is kids, if they don't have a phone, they kind of feel like they're missing out on a lot of the social life that their other friends have. And that's both sad and unfair to that kid.
Yeah. And so I didn't even, I'm talking about people who have been doing this, and I will tell everybody about that. Thank you, Dan. Your brother he's right on the money, because it's so important, because what happens is that even the kids will go, so it's not just on their parents. The parents say, well, how would you feel if you made a promise to your friends? Because we talk to doctors, we talk to experts, we talk to everybody. We all, as parents, we all love you, and we promised each other. You see what I'm saying? And kids get that. You know what I mean? What if you promised your best friends that you would protect, their kids? So I can't give you a phone and violate that. So young kids as young as 8 years old want phones. So in any event, we got to go, but I got to talk about home, because there's no place like home. And Chapman Windows, Doors, and Siding, they have made my home more beautiful, more energy efficient. You can trust the Chapman family team. For the entire month of October, Chapman offering the chance to receive $1,000 in credit to a brand new front door. So all you have to do, send them a photo of your current front door. Everybody who sends that photo is going to get $500 in credit towards a new front door. But they're going to choose one lucky person with the door that they feel needs the most TLC, okay? You are going to get that grand prize of $1,000 in credit toward a new front door from Chapman. So an updated front door, obviously it's going to boost the curb appeal, gives your home that instant makeover, that lift. So whether it's a single, double, or door with side lights, whatever it is, their experienced project consultants are going to help you choose the perfect front door for your home. You can call them. You can text 610-431-8898. Look at their website, chapmanwindowsdoors.com, so you can see all about this October new front doors. This is a lot of fun. chapmanwindowsdoors.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
There are so many terrifying political and economic trends tearing down the global economy. But your retirement does not have to collapse with it. The exclusive crash-proof retirement system guarantees over 5,000 consumers not only survive, but thrive despite market volatility, guaranteeing protected growth that cannot be taken away.
My name is Robert Sims. I live in Levittown, Pennsylvania. The interest credited to my crash-proof retirement system can never be taken from me. With all the debt that the nation has, I am leery of where the economy is going to head long term. I feel good about where I sit with the crash-proof retirement system, regardless of where the economy goes in the next 5 years or so, because it has delivered on its promises.
Schedule an appointment or register for the next Crash-Proof Retirement Educational event at Spring Mill Country Club on Wednesday, October 16th. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's also what a lot of us lack in our basement or garage. By switching to a Navien tankless water heater, not only will you have all the hot water you need whenever you need it, but you'll gain storage area as well. Maybe a place to display your space collectibles. Highly logical. Learn about Navien's series of high-efficiency tankless water heaters and how they don't just save space, but save dollars on your utility bills too. For more, go to tanklessmadesimple.com.
This is a commercial for California Psychics, America's most trusted psychic network. So, if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. No, really, this is it. You won't see your soulmate's face in the clouds or your career path mapped out in your cappuccino foam. This really is it. We could add some dramatic sound effects if you'd like. So what you waiting for? Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The
following is a paid commercial message.
Bob Casey supported radical sanctuary city policies, and Casey said,
I want to be held accountable if something doesn't work out well.
Casey's sanctuary city policies haven't worked out well. They release dangerous illegal immigrants onto our streets. In fact, Casey's sanctuary city policies released one illegal immigrant felon in Philadelphia who then raped a 5-year-old Pennsylvania girl. Casey made us all less safe. Casey not only supports these crazy policies that put convicted felons back on our streets, he'd make things even worse. Casey voted to give illegals with violent criminal records amnesty. Casey supported amnesty even for illegals convicted of domestic violence and child abuse. Rewarding illegals convicted of domestic violence and child abuse? It's insane.
I want to be held accountable.
It's time to hold Casey accountable. It's time for a change. It's time to fire Bob Casey. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. SenateLeadershipFund.org.
Is thinning hair or a receding hairline making you self-conscious? Try Hair Grow from New Nordic. Stop feeling embarrassed about your thinning hair and start feeling your best with Hair Grow.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet? Do it today at 1210 WPHT.
So now the cleanup and recovery is underway in Florida as well as the 5 other states. We've got Obama, by the way, in Pittsburgh today. Trump was here yesterday. J.D. Vance is coming next Tuesday. I mean, we're in the heat of the battle, the final 2 weeks here in Pennsylvania. Really loved all the interviews. Thank you, Dan, for setting all these up. And as well, I love the, wait for 8th. That's incredible. I'd love to have your brother on sometime and talk about that and just get advice as to how other parents can sign on to that.
Yeah, waituntil8th.org.
Waituntil8th.org. It's spelled out. EI. All right. Yeah.
No, it's just
the 8, the number 8?
8th.
Wait till 8th. All right. Great. It's incredible. Shows you the high quality family you're from. So we have this going on. What?
So that's a very nice compliment you just gave there. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we didn't even get to half of what happened today. I am so thankful. I'm still getting texts and calls from family and friends. Thank God in Florida. My family and friends are mostly in the Fort Myers, Naples area because I worked at Wink TV way back in the day.
You had people down there.
Yeah, so I've still got. So they have flooding. Nobody has power, and so we're seeing all these images now of, those first responders. Many people from our area, and still, going down, and just people are just trying to rebuild. And remember, a lot of them flooded just a couple weeks ago, less than a couple weeks ago. So this is what a mess. And so let's think about what Dan had said earlier, that I know that Dave McCormick, really looking forward to the Dave McCormick interview coming up, among other things, on the Dom Giordano Show. Hey, Dom.
Well, thank you, Dawn. Scott Presler was kind of running what happened in Reading yesterday with Latinos. We'll get a report from him. And the Inquirer, 11 printed pages, trying to convince us that black men under 50 are not moving even slightly toward Trump. I doubt that. I think there's some evidence that that's happening.
That is protest too much. So Dom Giordano Show is right now.